Hey mommies, how are you? I just wanted to say hi. Isaac is feeling a lot better today. I've actually been wearing my TV necklace for him and he's enjoyed playing around with it. So he's much more of a happy bunny today, right? So anyway, I wanted to bring something across that I hadn't really ever talked about before. I've talked a lot about before about how family members and friends tend to be very well-meaning and be nice and everything about breastfeeding, but sometimes too their assumptions are kind of like influenced by the way that society is, that we're so kind of influenced by the media now and also by advertising and things like that and pharmaceutical companies. So formula is kind of everywhere and bottles are everywhere. So a lot of people really think that kind of that's the way that you're supposed to feed a baby and that's the best way to feed a baby. And we hear it from doctors, from a lot of people also in the medical field. So it's kind of become engraved in us, like that's part of what feeding a baby is like, and it's basically like formula feeding. And a lot of people tend to think that breastfeeding is something like old-fashioned or from the past or something like that. So a lot of family members tend to be kind of influenced by that. So a lot of people I hear now say, oh, I'm not going to be able to breastfeed, my mom wasn't able to breastfeed or my grandma wasn't able to breastfeed. So I've been hearing that lately and I've heard it a few times before, and I was like thinking, no, I mean, does that mean that because your mom had a C-section you're gonna have to have a C-section? It doesn't necessarily mean that, and especially not with breastfeeding, because what happens is, and we have to kind of take this into consideration too, there's been a lot of different things that have happened through the last, like, let's say 80 years. And one of those big things that have happened too and kind of caused like a revolution and stuff like that is things with like pharmaceuticals, like I just mentioned. And formula became really big a while back ago. Probably, I'm 32, so maybe your mom didn't breastfeed, she formula fed. And that maybe, like say, going back around 30 years or so, that's when we had like a big boom with formulas and things like that, and a lot of these companies started coming out, and maybe the information that they gave out at the time wasn't very clear. It's not that formula is better than breast milk, so maybe our moms were kind of like not given the right information. And also it was during a time that there was a lot of change in women, so it was very kind of, I guess it's something that formula is very convenient. Obviously, you don't have to, it doesn't involve as much time, as much sacrifice. I'm not discrediting moms that have to formula feed, but it's different and we have to accept that it's different. So maybe your mom was influenced by that or during that time, so that's why she was formula feeding. So it wasn't that she couldn't breastfeed, it was just that she chose to formula feed for whatever reason it was. So it doesn't necessarily mean like that you're not going to be able to breastfeed. I just wanted to get that across. And the only times that breastfeeding is like if your mom wasn't able to breastfeed and that you could kind of think, oh, am I going to inherit that? Is that going to happen to me too? Like medically or scientifically, however you want to call it, there's only very few reasons for that, because most women are able to breastfeed. The percentage of women that literally cannot make breast milk is very, very small. It's like 5%. Most of them is because they have other issues like latching, things like that, or that it's like a perceived low milk supply. So those are two different things. The main reasons why you wouldn't be able to breastfeed in something that could have been inherited by like from medical history of your mom would be like things like diabetes. And that's because research has shown that if your body's not able to use insulin as it actually should be able to, then there's like a correlation in problems with your body actually being able to make breast milk. So that would be one, diabetes. And then also there's another type of ovary syndrome. It's called Polycystic, I always forget that name, and that's basically like a hormonal condition. So most of the things that are going to be impacted are actually hormonal conditions, and that's one of them. And that would that actually causes a bunch of different things too. It causes problems with like fertility, with acne, obesity, so as a lot of different things. And also one of those things too would also be being able to make your milk supply. And the reason is because your body's not able to make enough breast glandular tissue, which is the one that actually makes your breast milk. So that would be the other one. Another one is also problems with your thyroid, and again, that is very easily inherited from your mother. So problems with your thyroid, if you have an underactive thyroid especially, that's when you see most of the problems with being able to make breast milk. So that's one to think about. But on the positive side, if you're able to be treated for that, then your body should be able to make enough breast milk. It shouldn't be a problem, because it's not so much a problem with having enough breast glandular tissue. It's more a problem of your body being able to make breast milk. So that's the thyroid. And then the last one is called insufficient glandular tissue, which is also known as IGT. And that's basically something that tends to happen mostly in youth when your breasts weren't developed properly. So what I mean by properly is that you didn't develop enough breast tissue and enough breast glandular tissue, which is the one that makes your breast milk. And usually women like that will have like tube kind of shaped breasts, asymmetrical, or very wide apart, very wide spaced breasts. That doesn't mean if you have breasts that are shaped like that, that you have that, but usually those are some of the symptoms. And it doesn't mean either that you're not going to be able to breastfeed. It just means that you need to be prepared ahead of time, basically, and try and get some help from lactation consultants or someone that knows about breastfeeding and about how your body's able to make breast milk, so that they can give you the necessary kind of advice or adjustments that you can make, or alternatives to. In regards to breastfeeding, being able to breastfeed, you could use donor milk. There's a lot of different things that you can do to be able to help with supplementation if your body's not able to make a full supply of breast milk. So those are the things that I just wanted to bring to your attention, to know that those are the only real kind of reasons that you would have something like kind of like inherited from your mom, that she wasn't able to breastfeed, and maybe you're might have some issues being able to breastfeed. So I'll just mention them again. It's diabetes, and then all the other ones are to do with like hormones, which is the polycystic ovary, sorry if I said it wrong, polycystic ovary syndrome, thyroid, and insufficient glandular tissue, which is also known as IGT. So those are the main three that are to do like with hormones that you would kind of inherit and might cause some problems there with being able to breastfeed. So just wanted to bring those across to you, because especially sometimes moms, I love them, they're beautiful, but sometimes they tend to be kind of downy in regards to breastfeeding because they didn't breastfeed, so they assume that you're not going to be able to breastfeed, or you're not going to want to be able to breastfeed either. So just wanted to bring those to you across, and I wanted to ask for your opinions too. Did anybody ever have any issues with your mom not being supportive enough, or telling you that you shouldn't breastfeed, that you might as well just formula feed because you were formula fed and you are just doing fine? So just wanted to get your opinion, or maybe one that you get a lot, and I even get that sometimes, like, oh yeah, your baby's already 10 months or a year old or whatever, you know, take advantage, you know, give yourself a break and, you know, just start formula feeding, don't continue breastfeeding, or stuff like that from family members or anything like that. Give me your feedback. Let's share a little bit and support each other with that, because that can sometimes be a little bit hard to deal with, especially if you really want to breastfeed and it's important to you. So just wanted to share those with you. Okay, say bye, little man. Bye.